All right, let's dive right into this explainer. We are going to take a classic, beloved parable and recontextualize it into an urgent, highly practical masterclass on navigating the absolute whirlwind of career and business disruptions we're facing as we head into 2026. Look, whether you're dealing with massive industry shifts, wild new technologies, or completely changing workplace dynamics, the principles we're about to unpack aren't just about getting by. They are foundational to absolutely thriving in a chaotic world. We have to start with this famous, universally relatable outcry from the character Hem. Who moved my cheese? I mean, it just perfectly captures the total shock, the deep denial, and honestly, the sheer fear we all feel when our comfortable, predictable routines get completely upended. We've literally all been there. You wake up one morning and the rules of your entire industry have just shifted overnight. Your comfort zone, gone. And let's be real, we all have this natural tendency to just panic over even the slightest changes to our daily grind. So to make this really work for us today, we need to map these metaphors to our actual current reality. In Dr. Spencer Johnson's original text, cheese is defined simply as whatever you want in life. Now, heading into 2026, your cheese might be your remote work setup, your current career trajectory, or maybe your business's market share. And the maze? Well, that's where you're looking for what you want. It's your organization, your local community, or that incredibly fast-paced, AI-driven global job market we are all trying to navigate right now. Here is our quick roadmap for today's explainer. We'll cover the fear of change, the 4 characters in the maze, the Hem-Ha dilemma, 5 crucial lessons for career longevity, how to apply this to your business, and finally, finding that new cheese. Okay, section 1, the fear of change, and exactly why we push back against it so hard. Moving on to section 2, the 4 characters in the maze. Let's figure out which one you are. I want you to ask yourself honestly, and I mean really honestly here. In your professional life right now, which of these archetypes is running the show? Are you leaning on those simple brains like Sniff, who senses change coming a mile away, or Scurry, who just leaps into quick action without completely overanalyzing the whole thing? Or are you maybe getting bogged down by the complex brains, like Hem, who completely denies and resists change out of pure fear? Or perhaps Ha, who definitely resists at first, but eventually figures out how to adapt when he realizes that making a change could actually lead to something way better. Section 3, overcoming the Hem-Ha dilemma and the very real pain of stagnation. So Hem's reaction is a classic trap we have probably all fallen into at some point. He flat out says, we're entitled to our cheese. Rather than just adapting to the new reality, Hem demands justice. He digs his heels in, points fingers, and basically screams at the unfairness of the whole situation. He's totally convinced that because he didn't cause the problem, somebody else needs to step in and fix it for him. Now, sure, it's a completely natural human reaction, but leaning into that sense of entitlement, it's a one-way ticket to pure stagnation and a whole lot of unnecessary suffering. By contrast, let's take a look at Ha. Now, at first, he suffers right alongside Hem, just totally paralyzed by fear. But Ha eventually manages to overcome this awful dilemma by doing something incredibly powerful. He actually laughs at his own stubbornness. He finally gets it. He realizes that staying put in a situation with absolutely no cheese is actually way more dangerous than venturing out into the unknown maze. As he brilliantly puts it, it's time to find new cheese. The reality is, yesterday's success is gone for good, and sitting around waiting for it to magically return, well, that's just a fool's errand. Let's jump into section 4, 5 lessons for career longevity, or what we like to call the handwriting on the wall. Ha's very first lesson is a wake-up call. He reminds us to smell the cheese often, so you actually know when it's getting old. You see, he realized that cheese didn't just vanish overnight. The pile had actually been shrinking and getting kind of stale for a while. Noticing those small changes early on, like, say, shifting market trends or those wild new AI capabilities we're seeing, that's what prevents you from being completely blindsided when the massive, earth-shattering disruptions finally hit. Lesson 2 is all about momentum. The quicker you let go of old cheese, the sooner you're going to find new cheese. Ha learned the hard way that holding on to the illusion of a dying business model or, an obsolete skill set just guarantees that you keep starving. You have to release that white-knuckled grip on what used to work. Once you let go, you completely free yourself up to discover what actually works right now. Lesson 3 requires a profound shift in perspective.
Ha writes that it is actually safer to search in the maze than to remain in a cheeseless situation. I know, our complex brains love to tell us that the unknown is terribly dangerous, but Ha realizes that actively wandering into an uncertain, seemingly risky job market or trying out a brand new business strategy is vastly safer than just sitting there starving in a dead-end, changing industry. Think about it. Action creates opportunity. Stagnation basically guarantees failure.
Lesson 4 tells us that movement in a new direction is what helps you find new cheese. Once Hoff finally stopped letting fear call the shots, he found that just putting one foot in front of the other down a dark corridor actually invigorated him. He didn't even have new cheese in his hands yet, but simply taking movement in a new direction, even when you have no idea what the exact destination is, it literally nourishes your soul. It absolutely breaks the paralysis of fear. To combat his lingering, totally understandable anxiety, Ha used a brilliant psychological tool, visualizing his success. He painted this highly realistic, incredibly vivid mental picture of himself enjoying all sorts of amazing new cheeses. And this wasn't just idle daydreaming, right? It was an active coping mechanism to replace his fear with anticipation. It created this powerful mental magnet that practically pulled him forward right into the unknown. Section 5, applying all of these lessons to business and really adapting your corporate culture. The difference between failure and survival in the business world is incredibly stark. Take Nathan, for example. He shared how his family's super reliable retail business acted exactly like him. They completely ignored small market changes, utterly failed to adapt when the massive mega stores rolled into town, and ultimately, they faced brutal closures. In sharp contrast, Michael's company managed to survive a near-fatal industry shift by actively identifying the hems inside their senior leadership, the people who were actively holding them back. They didn't just survive, they fundamentally shifted their entire culture to be more like Sniff and Scurry. They made adaptability their brand new gold standard. And finally, Section 6, finding your new cheese. Let's look at some final thoughts and review what we've learned today. If you take away absolutely nothing else today, let it be this incredibly uplifting thought. There is always new cheese out there, whether you happen to recognize it at the time or not. Stepping into the unknown doesn't just help you merely survive a massive disruption. It so often rewards you with something far better, far more satisfying than whatever it was you originally lost. Hear me out on this. Change isn't just some scary threat. It is literally an upgrade just waiting to happen. So I'm going to leave you with this final, incredibly provocative question that Hobb boldly wrote on the wall. It's a question you need to ask yourself every single time you start to feel that creeping panic of a shifting landscape. What would you do if you weren't afraid? Seriously, as we stare down the continuous, relentless disruptions of 2026 and beyond, what bold career pivot or massive business move would you make today if fear absolutely wasn't holding you back? Really think about it. Go find your running shoes and get ready to head out into the maze.